Hey again, everybody. It's Guardian Enzo here with another Enzo Loves Manga. This is episode 4. And I spent some time thinking about what I wanted to do for this because there's so many manga I could pick. But I defaulted to this, even though I talked about this series a little bit last year on the Notaku podcast. I wanted to give it its own kind of dedicated show here because when I thought about all the manga that are currently running that I, really love, I mean, it's an endless list. Akatsuki no Yona for starters, but I mean, so many others. But there's one that I just really look forward to most every week to reading, and that's really Boku no Kokoro no Yabai Yatsu, which is, of course, translated in English as The Dangers in My Heart. And if you don't know this series, it's a romantic comedy about the dark side of adolescence. Is the subtitle that they put on it. But we can talk about that in a minute. But this is by the author of Mitsudomoe, Sakurai Norio, and she's a very interesting mangaka. And Mitsudomoe is a very interesting series. It's one of those series that I actually hated the first episode of the anime, and then I came to really love it. It is a really, really hilariously funny series, Mitsudomoe, that kind of goes places where you just don't think it would dare to go. It's insanely creative. It has a very Monty Python quality to it too, actually, which is a humor style I love. But in every respect, for me, Boku no Kokoro is a better series because it really goes much deeper on the character side. And Mitsudomoe is deeper than you think it's going to be, but BokuYaba, as it's almost universally called by fans, is it definitely goes deeper. It's really an amazing, amazing romantic comedy. You've heard me say before that to me, junior high school romance is really junior high school rom-com is sort of the in a glory in a golden age right now. There's so many tremendous series focusing on this at the moment. I think BokuYaba is the king of the hill in that department, to me, no doubt. There's some really wonderful ones like Kono Bijutsubu, Niwa Mandai ga Aru, for example, I think is really great. But that's more of a comedy and less of a romance. And this one is equally a comedy and a romance. And it's the full description that the publisher in Japan put on it is a fearsome psycho thriller centering on the dark side of adolescence, and that makes you think certain things. And the hero of the piece, the protagonist, is a boy named Ichikawa Kyotaro, and it does sort of start out that way. I thought about how much detail I wanted to go in on this, just to say that it's not a series that you want to judge by the first few chapters because it evolves and grows and changes tremendously in a relatively short period of time. And so do the characters. Almost at 70 chapters now. And it is a series that moves. The relationship moves, the series moves, there's development. The other main character is a girl named Yamada Anna, and the gist of the story is that Kyotaro is small for his age, socially awkward. I know you're saying cliche, but he's not a cliche character. He is small for his age. He is awkward. He does have a bit of a chunibyo side to him, which is where that subtext comes from in the premise, I think. But he's actually quite a bit more than he appears to be. Yamada Anna, on the other hand, Anna is a big and tall and very popular, beautiful girl, and she's she's at one end of the social ladder, and he's at the other, and you have certain expectations of what his character should behave like and should be like in that situation, and what her character should. And all I'll say is prepared to have those expectations subverted because both of these kids are way more and way different than you would expect them to be based on what you think may be a kind of a tropey character class description. Their relationship is hilarious. It's wonderful. This series, BokuYaba, I think, manages to embrace the nature of really early romance, middle school romance, and generally the middle school experience, I think, as about as well as any series I think has in many, many, many years. It's quite remarkable, in fact, how well Sakurai Norio does this. And I would venture to say that she captures the male experience as someone who lived through it in with uncanny accuracy. There's a certain, if you're not a socially adept person, that age of 13, 14 years old, there's that again, it's that contrast that's really at the heart of this series. There's a sense that anything is possible, but everything is terrifying. And she captures that really well in this series. And the other area I think of contrast to this, and again, we're talking about kids in junior high school, so their life is contrast. They're not children, they're not adults, they're in that weird phase in between. And BokuYaba tonally manages to be both insanely sweet and innocent and quite racy and bold in the way it addresses the physical side of a relationship for kids that age, and not so much the physical side but the mental pressures of that. So again, it's that whole package when you put all this together that comes up with something that I think is amazingly realistic. And it starts and ends with the fact that these two characters, who are very, very much at the heart of the series, are so wonderful, so charming, so funny, have such incredible chemistry together. The supporting cast, generally speaking, does not have a huge, huge role in the series, but they are important, especially Anna's friends. She has a lot of them. A couple of them have a fairly significant role, and so does Kyotaro's older sister has quite a significant role as well. But really, the focus is on the two of them and their developing relationship, which I would, even if I could describe it, which I don't know if I should under the circumstances, I couldn't. You have to experience it. It's really like it's really quite unlike anything else in rom-com at the moment, I think. And I just absolutely love it. And this series has won, I mean, it's won numerous awards. It's won the Sugi ni Kuru Manga Taisho, the up and coming manga award. It's been nominated for the Manga Taisho twice. It's finished number 3, I think, in the last Manga ga Sugoi, which is kind of the booksellers manga award. Last year, it came in fourth in the poll at Anime Japan for what series people wanted to see animated. This year, it won that category. So this is a series that has developed a huge fan base in Japan. It's very popular, and it's going. Its fourth volume was just printed. The fifth volume will be out this summer. So I think we're getting pretty close to what, but we'll talk about that in a second. And the happy news here for readers in the United States is it has been licensed in America and by Seven Seas. And the first volume will be coming out, I believe it's scheduled for July. So look forward to that, which is great. And I think as far as the whole anime question, yeah, we're going to see an anime for this. I would be stunned if we don't, because A, it's a great series. B, it's a series that's kind of a natural fit for anime. And C, judging by the sales and all those awards and all those fan awards and the fan polling at Anime Japan and all that, it's very, very clear there's an audience for this. My personal feeling is when this does get an anime, it's going to go from popular to phenomenon. I personally think it's going to be a really, really, really big hit once it becomes an anime. We'll see. I've been wrong before, but my general trend is I assume series I love are going to tank commercially. I don't think that's going to be the case with BokuYaba. I think it's going to do really well. I think it's already doing really well just as a manga, but when it does get an anime, I think it's really, really going to take off. And we're at the point now where 70 chapters, they'd probably use 30 to 32 for a one core anime. I think we're pretty close to where we could see that happen. When the announcement will come, I don't know. But again, I think we could see a one core anime anytime soon, 6 months off, come back with another. I suspect it will happen in 2022 if I was going to bet money on it, but we'll see. I never take anything for granted where the production committee system is concerned, but I would be stunned if this does not get a series at some point. As far as the adaptation is concerned, I mean, the only thing I could see being slightly complicated with this is the matter of the extra chapters. There are a lot of bonus chapters, and they're bonus chapters. You could do them as omakes at the end of the series, or at the end of an episode after the credits. They would work fine that way. But while they're generally comedy driven, they also are they're plot drivers. They're important, so you can't really skip them because they do tell you things that aren't told in the main chapter that are important. But they also get, to be blunt, they get quite racy. Not anything hentai or anything, but they get quite racy. And so how much they want to literally take that to the screen, I don't know, but I do know that you can't skip those chapters because they're really important, and they're hilariously funny, and they're really adorable too. As far as what happens, there's the guy who directed Mitsudomoe is the anime is Ota Masahiko, who also directed, among other things, the first season and best season of Minami K, who I consider him kind of the dean of comedy anime direction. I think he would be my first choice to direct this, although he hasn't been doing a tremendous amount of stuff in recent years. But he would be really an excellent pick. But anyway, just a good solid adaptation with it doesn't need tremendous visuals. It doesn't have a lot of fantasy sequences. It doesn't have a lot of action. It just needs to look nice. It needs to be faithful to the original, and it needs a director who has a sense of comic timing. And I don't think that that should be too much of an ask. I really believe this will happen soon, hopefully within the next year. And again, I know I've already talked about this series, but I wanted to talk about it again because I want to evangelize it. I want everyone, and this is why I want an anime in the end more than any other reason, is because A, I want to see it, but B, I want the whole world to know how amazing and how wonderful Boku no Kokoro no Yabai Yatsu is. Again, in English, it's The Dangers in My Heart, and generally known to fans in Japan and worldwide as BokuYaba. And seek it out, read it, enjoy it. I think most of you will probably end up loving it because that's how great it is. That's how much confidence I have. And knock on wood, we'll get an anime pretty soon because it's pretty clear that the fans really, really want it. And damn it, so do I. So, as always, I thank you for tuning in. Always a great pleasure to be able to talk about manga that I love. And if you, the yada, yada, yada of it, if you like, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Would love to see your comments below. And as always, thank you very much for tuning in. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Stay frosty.